Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I got my best Jovi friend Jack, and we are going to talk about this gem right here.
That's right.
The Have a Nice Day album, if you didn't already know.
Track one.
But before we get going, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Good. So we're going to talk about Have a Nice Day. So this was the band's 9th studio album, which was released on September 20th, 2005. It was recorded from 2004 to 2005 at Sanctuary Studios, which is John's studio in Red Bank, and then finished in Ocean Way Recording in LA. And this was the first time that John Shanks was a producer. So this was his first album with the band that he, co-wrote and produced. I think it was number one in 10 to 15 countries, but I think it only hit number 2 here in the US and UK, if I'm not wrong. So, like I said, the album was recorded in 2004, summer 2004, and the band was actually almost done with the album. Was going to release it in December of 2004. But then John said, "No, wait a minute, I got more." So we'll get into that once we get into "Have a Nice Day" song.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting because they wrote 4 new songs and changed some of the other songs too.
Right.
So what's your before we get into the tracks, what's your take on this album?
My take, I loved it. I remember when it came out and just the excitement around it. When we first heard the snippet of "Have a Nice Day," and with the different lyrics,
which we'll get to.
So, the album I thought was solid. I really did. From start to finish. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was a great album.
Yeah. I think this was the album that was kind of like, I want to say like one of their first albums that were like, okay, we've been a band for 20 years. I think we can be a little more flexible, kind of like they did with Crush, be a little more open, flexible. And I also think it was one of those albums that was getting a little more into socially conscious album.
Yeah.
I think Balance was the kind of the introduction to that.
It was. Yep.
But I think Have a Nice Day was the real push off the edge, But, it wasn't all about politics, socially conscious stuff. It was also about life, divorce, with David's divorce. There's a couple songs on there, the music business. And it was kind of like a thing, too, about hope, songs about hopelessness, but being able to come together and being hopeful. I think it was like the dark tunnel meeting the light of the tunnel, per se, if that makes sense. And then another thing, too, that I love about this album is the photography. I think that's like one of the band's greatest photography in any of their albums.
I agree.
Let me dig out their booklet real quick. There's so many good photos in here. I want to show, like this one right here.
I was just gonna tell you, that's probably my favorite shot of all the photos.
That one. I like the back of the vinyl. That one. There's so many. And all the Bon Jovi fans watching this, are diehard fans, and so they know what the photography looks like. So I don't think I have to get a photography. But it's the point.
Yeah.
So let's get into, how about we talk about the tour first? Because I remember being a kid before the tour. I remember my dad bought me the album the first day of release. My dad always bought me the album's first day. And I was 13. Yeah, I was 13 years old. And after school, my dad picked me up and he took me to Pizza Hut to go buy the album.
There you go.
And I remember he let me buy the Digipack. I think we call this the Digipack, which had a DVD.
Yep.
And then he also let me buy the jewel case because I like to collect every edition. Stupid. Yeah. And then what was I going to say after that? And then actually, when they released this dual disc, they also released the Slippery When Wet dual disc.
Yeah.
Too. So I remember he got me that as well. So I got like 3 CDs all in one day.
Nice.
Going back into the tour, I remember my dad told me I could go to 2 shows. And so we went to Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I think it was one in Ohio stadium show. But they toured from November 2005 to July 2006. Was it? Because they did
Yeah.
2 North American legs.
Yes, because I want to say they added that last Giant Stadium show after the one I
Yeah.
went to. I think it was the 29th of July.
Yeah.
And I think that was the end of the tour.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's right. Because and this is like one of the bands. I know they did some stadium shows in the. I'm just speaking about the U.S. They did some U.S. stadium shows in 2013, but there were only like 6 shows.
Right.
But so I think Have a Nice Day was kind of like their last major stadium tour in the U.S.
Yeah.
An album.
It was a phenomenal show too.
Yeah,
I mean, the band was on fire.
Oh, I know. And it was such a shorter tour too. They only toured in North America, Asia, Europe. They never went to Australia or Japan.
Right.
I don't think.
I don't think they did either.
Like you said, it was a phenomenal tour. And I know you and I, we were talking about this the other day.
Yep.
This gem right here. How in 2006, band never promoted it.
And it just showed up.
It's an official release. Yeah. And I remember walking in Walmart one day, and this bad boy's on the shelves. And, so it has Last Man Standing, Bad Name, Complicated, Have a Nice Day, Says You Can't Go Home, and Raise Your Hands. And I'm looking in the back, it was recorded in Boston, Massachusetts in December of 2005.
Yep.
So, it's a good gem,
I just like you, I was strolling through Walmart and came across that, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I had no clue they were even releasing that. The only thing I would have added on that one was probably Story of My Life.
Live. Oh, yeah. I think that should have definitely been on there. It's funny because we were talking about just happenstance of finding it. I remember that social media wasn't really around. I think MySpace was just starting to hit a peak.
Yeah.
But, so any Bon Jovi news was through, I remember AOL email or the fan club. So I remember I went home and went on the fan club. Like, oh my gosh, I got this hat, and you couldn't even post a picture of it. So people were like, oh my gosh, what does it look like?
Yeah.
But it was a great tour, and I think it was the second or third highest grossing tour, too.
Yeah.
But let's start digging into the album.
All right.
First one is obviously Have a Nice Day, which is the name of the album as well. It was the very first single. I think it was released in radio in July 2005. Then it was officially released with a music video in August.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
It was written by John Ritchie and John Shanks.
Yeah.
And so here is the biggest thing about the song was, like we were saying earlier, the album was pretty much finished by December. And so I remember the American Music Awards in December of 2004, and they made no announcement they were going to perform it. I remember they performed It's My Life, and all of a sudden they go into this new song. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And we didn't find out till later that it was the new song. But if anyone that has seen this performance, the chorus is so different than the actual release, and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love it because it's just different from what we know, but I love it. But and that's when John decided, no, we're not done. I have 4 more songs that I want to finish and change others and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And the whole meaning of this song is more of a rebellious type song, defiant. It's more like F you,
exactly.
Have a nice day, not
have a nice day.
So
right. It wasn't like quite Have a Nice Day.
Yeah, it's like in the Dual Disc video, when John's talking about the song, he's like, it's a very New York way of saying, have a nice day.
Yeah.
And
giving the finger to the world.
Yeah, exactly. And this is pretty much that finger.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's also looking at the mistakes of the past, to like in the lyrics, we're living in the broken home of hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the introduction into the album. Of this album is about hopelessness and living through mistakes of the past and trying to, follow new
find the optimism.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your take of the song?
On the song? I'm right there with you. Like everything you just said. When when we first heard that song, I loved the chorus. It was definitely the right choice for the first single. Um, the lyrics were awesome. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better
Yeah.
rock song, really.
I
Like,
mean,
I
just
mean,
that hook in the beginning, that
yeah,
ba, da, ba.
and I love it even more live, because
Oh
it
yeah,
just it grabs you, It's like, it's so awesome. But
yeah,
no, when that song came out, I remember listening to it like over and over. Like I couldn't get enough of it,
yeah,
and then finally, eventually, like the samples of the other one, the snippets of the other tracks came out, and then I was like, oh my god, I was like, I can't wait for this album to come out.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
no, Have a Nice Day was it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely one of my favorite all time songs.
Yeah, and like you said, and before, like I said, social media wasn't even really a thing. So the only way you could ever hear the song in July of '05 was radio. So I remember
Right.
always getting in my dad's car and like, please play for the radio to please play it. And so I remember in August when they were officially releasing it as a single on their website, and I had the single right here. I remember buying this at the
Yep.
store. Um, but I remember the music. They announced that the music video was going to be premiered. This is when VH1 played music videos.
Yeah.
And I remember the next morning, I made myself 2 Hot Pockets and chocolate milk. I'm a 13-year-old kid at the time, so
Sure.
I was at my grandmother's house and went video after video, and I hate today's music, and especially 2005's music. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my! I remember they played that Gold Diggers. She gave me my, that song.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I remember like this black Escalade just pulls up. I'm like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, you see John coming up, and then going to one of the autograph seekers or
Yep.
fans, whatever. And then he wrote,
He
drew
drew
the
he drew the
cover,
logo.
which is a little different. And
Yeah.
but I love the music video. The like seeing that smirk, translate everywhere, and I think it was just a way of sending the message. How messages are. You saw like little cell phones too.
Yep.
Just the way that it was going everywhere. You saw, guy washing his hands. It's on there. My favorite part of the video was when John and Rich are walking down the sidewalk and they see
Mine
this
too.
girl with a tube top and she's hot, and they turn around and she's it's a tramp stamp.
Yeah.
So
Have a nice day.
it was a great music video. And then fucking Richie's
Richie's, yeah, the tattoos.
fake
Please.
tattoo.
Yep.
I was like,
Yep.
what?
I almost bought that. I almost bought those because it was shortly after that. After I seen that, I'm like, that's cool as shit. I was like, maybe I should buy that too.
Well, that was like a fashion thing back then too.
Yeah,
so,
it sure was.
But and so I think one of the big things about Richie on this song is his double neck guitar.
Yeah.
Because that was on every tour up until 2013. The cover of the "We Weren't Born to Follow" single. Which was funny because they used it as the cover of "We Weren't Born to Follow" single.
Yeah.
Because every diehard fan knew that was "Have a Nice Day" that they were playing.
Exactly.
But my favorite lyric to that song is "Standing on the ledge, I show the wind how to fly." Like, I think that it's kind of like it resembles "We Weren't Born to Follow." Like, I'm going to take my own path. I believe in it, and I feel like I can make a change. I think that's what he was saying in that lyric. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
What's your favorite lyric from this song?
My favorite lyric in there would have to be it's tough. I mean, it sounds corny, but I the whole song to me, it's just like, take a look around you, nothing's what it seems. I think probably that part right there.
Yep. I mean, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
And then one last thing about the song is it's been a major staple in the band's set list. It's almost at every show, and I love it. I'm glad it is. It's one of those hits that you just really love and you don't ever get tired of hearing.
No, I'm definitely not tired of that song by any means. Like, they should play that to the end of time.
Yeah,
it's one of those, and they probably will. And it's one of those that's up there with Prayer and Bad Name and Want It.
Yep, exactly.
So,
next track is
I Wanna Be Loved.
Yeah, I'm singing it in my my head right now as we talk. This was actually technically considered the fourth and final single, but it was only released in some certain countries, and I can't remember which countries, but it was the final single. It was released here in the U.S., I know that, but it was
Right.
released in April of '06. And it was written by John Ritchie, and I think also John Shanks also wrote on that too. Um, this was the only song that, if you listen carefully, you don't hear it so frequently like you do in Living on Prayer and It's My Life, but you can hear the talk box. There's the talk
Oh
box of
yeah.
this song. Yeah.
Yes, you
And
can.
I think another thing I want to mention about this album too is I think that they were experiencing some different sounds. If you ever just sit and listen to the album from start to finish, they introduce some sounds, weird, but they sound cool. And I Want to Be Loved is one of them. If you listen to like the very end, just the way that it kind of filters out is really
Yeah.
cool. I think this song kind of resembled a little more of a bounce feel, kind of like Hook Me Up,
Yeah.
but like a little less heavy. You know,
Yes. I def
I think this is one of those songs that Richie really shines on.
Absolutely.
Um, Before we get into it, my take on this song is I think it's all about coming from a broken home, but looking positive in your future. You know, deserving to be loved and being able to make a contribution to society. Like that lyric, you know, I want to give, I'm ready to try.
Yep.
You know, because I can make a contribution and not becoming the generation before you. You know,
Right.
like we know that John didn't come from a broken home, but so I think he was writing about someone else there. But
Yep.
like I said, you know, coming from, you know, the family tree line, you know, not knowing where you're from, you know,
Yep.
what's your take on it?
My take is just like that. I mean, and I want to be loved is also, just that, you just want to be loved, I guess. Some
Yeah,
people will take it that way, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
no, I definitely understand what, like what you said, like where it's coming from. And because you got to look, in between the lines there, I guess, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And you're right with the talk box because, um, I don't know if you have yet, but well, I'm sure you have with the 5.1 surround and all that.
Oh yeah,
Dude, it's unbelievable. It,
sure
it
is.
shines more on that version, you know, for
Yeah,
the dual disc. I mean, man, that like I said, every album should come out 5.1 just to hear the
yeah.
different sounds and all that. But no, I Want to Be Loved was definitely, and the talk box is what hooked me when I was like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh
whoa.
yeah,
It was so cool.
yeah. And I'm
You
glad
know,
you brought up about the 5.1 because I forgot all about it because it shine a little more on that song.
yeah,
I don't have to
it's
listen to it
so
again.
clear.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what else is a shame too is that they've only played this I think a couple times live. You
They
know,
did.
during the Have a Nice Day tour, they only played it a
Yeah.
couple times. But my favorite lyric is I found a picture of our so-called family tree. I broke all the branches looking for answers. Don't you know that ain't how it's supposed to be?
Yeah. Mine
I
too.
love that lyric. I love the way that John sings it, and that's
Yeah.
yours too.
Yeah, mine too.
Look at that. Great
And I
mind
know,
signal.
and I know the next track we're gonna agree on the same lyric again.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll say it at the same time. Um,
uh,
so let's just go right into the next
let's
one. This
go
was
into it.
the band's third single. It was released in June 2006 in the U.S. and everywhere else, but in the U.K. earlier, which I think was January of '06. It was written by John Ritchie and John Shanks. Um, and what's funny about this song is that we'll get into the meaning of it, but JBJ wrote it when he was campaigning for who was it? John Kerry, I think in 2004.
Um,
I think it was. He was campaigning for some Democrat party back in '04, and that's how he wrote this song. And you know the whole meaning is
yeah, I think you're
we're
right.
all different, but we're still the same, which is a
Yep.
lyric in the song, and that we should all come together. I think it speaks really true. You know, when I was watching the debate last night, I was thinking, we're in such a scrambled world right now that
Oh God.
we all come from different lifestyles. We all come from
Yeah.
poor, rich,
Yep.
color of our skin. We're all different,
Yep.
but we're all still the same.
Exactly.
And so I was thinking of this song so much last night. I was like, wow, this song truly still rings, you know,
It
16,
holds up.
15 years later. Yeah.
It does.
And so I think that's what the song was really about. And if you look at the music video, you know, you see like the band performing. You see like band, performing in the streets trying to make a buck. But then all of a sudden you see the band in the same spot. Don realized where he came from. Or one of my other favorite parts too was the homeless man sleeping on the streets, and then you see John coming out of him.
Yep.
Or the man seeing or watching the guy at the red light, and the guy comes to wipe his windshield out of kindness, and then all of a sudden the guy sees himself. So I think that imagery there was that the guy came from nothing, became successful, but then he also remembers his roots.
Yes, exactly.
That's my take. But enough of me. Let's hear what your take is on it.
No, it sounds cliche, but it's the same deal. That song holds up so true now. Probably even more so now than it did back then because of everything that's going on in the world. Like these days, people can't seem to agree to disagree, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's sad. You should have your opinion, and someone like you should have your opinion, and I should respect that.
Yep.
And vice versa. But these days, it's like one way or no way. Like it's my way or no way, or your way or no. You know what I mean? Yep. So no, but it's true. I mean, if people would just just respect each other, I guess. And it's funny because I was actually yesterday at work, I was talking to a teacher about this too, because respect, goes a long way. You know what I mean?
Yep, it sure does.
And I've said the same thing to her about, about having opinions, and no one's allowed to have their opinions anymore because, you get bashed for it. You know what I mean? That like, just an example, like, if somebody supports Donald Trump, you're a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or, and it's sad the way the world is now. You know what I mean? Like,
sure is.
Just, hey, it is what it is. Just respect one another, and,
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all it is, man.
So, our favorite lyric on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
When do you want to that you're perfect.
Yeah.
God makes no mistakes.
That's my, and that brings me, when this album came out when I was 13. So any teenager that's turning 13, wants to become independent and wants to fit in with school. I wasn't the most popular kid in school. And so, I had my fair share of bullies and stuff, and not fitting in or not feeling like I was good enough for someone, starting to, date, for what that's worth. And I remember this song always helped pull me through some bad days, especially that line that we just say, when you want to give up and your heart's about to break, remember that you're perfect. God makes no mistakes. Kind of reassuring you that, I am who I am. I'm proud of who I am. Exactly. I should be proud of who I am. Just because I don't fit in with this group doesn't mean that I'm not worthy.
Exactly.
So this is probably in my top 5 of favorite songs of all time. And I just think it rings true that you're not alone.
No, definitely not.
And then, do you remember when this was in the West Wing episode and John also appears in the episode? They named it. They named the episode "Welcome to Wherever You Are," and then John appeared. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've seen it too.
Yeah, and then one last thing about the song too is they played it live quite a few times on the Have a Nice Day tour, and I love it, especially that our favorite when he sings our favorite lyric. That note and damn,
dude, I still feel like that song. Like he should still do that song.
Yep.
Whether it's just acoustic or the band. I mean, maybe leave it acoustic because of his voice,
Yeah.
But I think it'll still hold up. I really do. I think the set list should definitely be refreshed this coming whenever they get back out on the road.
I agree with you.
It's because it got kind of stale, you know what I mean, after a little while.
Yeah, and especially because it resonates still. Like we were just talking
Absolutely.
about.
Now more than ever, man. Like I
Yep.
said, it holds up. Put the message out there again. Because people probably forgot about this song or the
Yep.
album for that matter.
Yeah.
So just to reintroduce it would be a good thing.
Oh yeah, yep. And he did it at a runaway trip not too long ago, a few years ago.
He did.
By fan request.
Yep.
And he didn't remember. I mean, he hasn't played in forever, so he didn't even know the lyrics.
He did good for what it was,
Yeah.
though.
But I think he still could do a good job. But let's go on to the next track, and I had to write down the award note, so I'm going to read one in just a second. But Who Said You Can't Go Home was released as the second single. We're going to combine tracks 4 and 13 because track 4 of Who Says You Can't Go Home is just the band rock version.
Yep.
And track 13 is with Jennifer Nettle, country. Yep. So this is a big one here. So it was released in March 2006. I like to say the first. Second single, it was written by John and Richie. This song was pretty much about being proud of your roots and being proud of where you come from. And we'll get into that. But obviously, you and I both know this was kind of like an intro way of Lost Highway album. But this is the very first. Bon Jovi was the very first rock band to have a #1 country hit.
Country song, right?
Yep. And we were talking. You and I were talking about this the other day about how this was actually first recorded with Keith Urban.
Yep.
As a demo, and John's actually been talking about that quite often now because of the 2020 promo, "Do What You Can." Yep. And so I remember I was arguing with this, not arguing, but having this debate with one of my Jovi friends a few months ago, and they're like, "No, Keith Urban never recorded on that. It was Jennifer Nettles." I know it was Jennifer Nettles, but it was Keith Urban first. And she's like, "No, it wasn't." I wanted to like rub it in her face. Here it is.
Here it is.
But so anyway, it was first recorded with Keith Urban, and John thought that Keith and John, or him and Keith, sounded too much alike, which was true. Yeah. And so he found Jennifer Nettles, who was just like an up and comer.
Oh, her voice is phenomenal.
Oh, she is perfect. Every way. But we won't get into that. But I love Jennifer Nettles.
Me too.
But it won. And this is where I'm going to read off my notes. It won so many awards. It was Best Collaborative Video at CMT Music Awards, Favorite Rock Song at People's Choice Awards, Grammy for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals. That's a big thing. It won a Grammy. Best Country Song of the Year for ASCAP Country Music Awards. And it was also nominated for Music Event of the Year for ASCAP Country Music Awards, and also nominated for Vocal Event of the Year at Academy of Country Music Awards. So I think there's more to it, but like I was saying, it influenced Lost Highway album, which I'm glad it did. And one thing too, it was also used for Republican. You and I both know John's a Democrat, which is okay.
Yeah.
But this song was actually used in Republican events in 2008 during the election. Yeah. And the band did not support it. I remember the band issued a statement saying, "We did not support it. We don't want our songs used for any Democrat or Republican." Right. Because I think at that time, John wasn't too open about.
He wasn't too open in the political field.
Not
like how he is now.
Yeah. and the music, there's 2 music videos, one for each version of the song. And obviously, I think the country version made more sense. And funny, John's brother Anthony actually directed this video. And I think both videos were really. I think the country version.
Which one did he direct? Oh, the country one. Okay.
I like to say he also did the rock one, but I'm not 100% on that.
I didn't know that. That's cool though.
Yeah. Anthony directs a lot of some of the videos and live performances and all that. He's also on the tour with the band too, with sound and video and all that. But the country video features Habitat for Humanity volunteers and soul football players, which was 2 things that John was very active with at the time.
Very.
And then the video also shoots the band and Jennifer Nettles building homes. I love the part in this video where they're putting up the mirror. John's putting up the mirror, and then he turns around and it comes down.
Yeah.
And that video won Best Collaborative Video for CMT Music Awards in 2006.
Yeah.
The rock video was so. I think that was a special release on the website, and it was so weird. Like it was kind of like the Misunderstood video, but it was kind of like the dog trying to find its way home.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
when I say the Misunderstood video, I mean like just the way it was kind of directed and like
Yeah.
like following the lost puppy and trying to like. I was like, what is the meaning with this dog?
Oh my
It was
God,
just so
dude.
weird.
You know what's funny? I had forgotten about that video until you just brought it up, and I'm like, oh my God, like I remember that now. And what they should have done, on a lot of their videos, like some of their videos anyway, we'll get discussion,
Yeah,
is just put the band playing live, and just put the
yeah,
track to it. I think that
yeah,
would have been way better. And
yeah. It
maybe
was
just throwing a couple of scenes here and there or whatever, but
yeah.
mostly play it live.
Okay. Favorite lyric. With every step I take, I know that I'm not alone. You can take the home from the boy, but not the boy from his home.
Yep,
What's yours? Same.
that one. Yep,
Okay.
same one.
And then one last thing too before we go into the next song is it's also another staple song on set list from every tour since
Yep,
'05. The only thing that kind of gets on my nerves is that it's all like it was cute
it's all
during the
right.
Have a Nice Day tour, but every tour, singing "It's All Right with Your Hand," my
Yeah,
arms actually get tired doing it.
I know.
But but
It was, yeah.
let's get into the next track, which is "Last Man Standing," and it
Yep.
was written by John and Billy Falcon. It was actually released before the album, but only on the band's website. So you can go on the band's website and listen to the song.
Yeah.
Um, and I think this was one of the very first. I think the song was kind of like the entryway into Burning Bridges and the More Things Change. This is a song that John was getting more vocal about the music business.
He was.
Um, you know, and it's true. When he was saying that no more big artists are going to sell millions and millions of albums, and we're still seeing that issue uh, today. How these music companies are taking over the artist's art. It's art. It's like look at Taylor Swift for example. She wrote all these amazing songs and one of the biggest artists, and her record company owned the songs and just sold them, and she had no rights to what she created. If it
Right.
wasn't for her, or let's go back to the Bon Jovi. If Bon Jovi didn't write these songs, the record companies wouldn't be able to make all the money that they're making.
No, definitely not.
So, in the music business eyes, I love music so much. I would hate to be in the music business because music business does not stand for what music really is about.
Exactly.
They're not about the artist or the album or the vision. They're all about that 3.5 minute slot to go into the radio
Yeah.
and the downloads to make a profit.
Yeah.
It's like we're holding up our artwork here. It is so amazing to actually have it in your hands to look at the
Oh,
photography.
absolutely.
And I know we're trying to watch our time here, so I don't want to
All
get
right, you're
into the
fine.
whole thing. But it's just music is so. And this is one of those songs I really appreciated John writing. And we're mentioned about how it was released on this album. It premiered on the This Left Feels Right DVD, which they played
Yeah.
for. This Left Feels Right came out before Have a Nice Day, and I want to get your opinion on it. I actually prefer This Left Feels Right version more. I think it's just more intimate. It kind of it's a storytelling song, so it kind of reels you in.
Yep.
And which version do you prefer more?
I prefer This Left Feels Right for the same reason. It's more
Yep.
intimate. It's the first one we've heard, so it's like kind of like that first love at first sight, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds
Exactly.
corny, but no,
Yeah.
that when I first heard that song, I'm like, why didn't they put this on the album? You know,
Yeah.
and I was so happy that they included it on the box set, and then we found out that the electric version was going to be on Have a Nice Day.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it was going to be the electric version.
I didn't either.
I thought it was going to be like because I loved it. I remember always putting that DVD in to listen to that track before
Yeah.
YouTube days, and I
Yeah.
was like, I thought I was putting up the wrong song or something.
Yeah.
But it's also a good show opener too. I like it as a show opener, the electric version, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely good. But like us, we prefer the This Left Feels Right version. But
Yeah.
as for the tour, I guess that works good for the tour, the Have a Nice Day version.
Yeah.
Just like you said, like a show opener or whatever. I kind of hope they maybe put that one back in at some point. Either
Yeah.
version, either version. I prefer the slow one, especially.
Oh
But
yeah. I don't think we ever
um,
see the live music or
and, and
the
I think it'll
music.
make much more sense doing it now. Anyways,
Oh
just
yeah. The music business just it's still terrible. I mean, we can get into a whole other discussion about burning bridges, but that
yep.
whole debacle. You know. But anyway, favorite lyric is the songs were more than music; they were pictures from the soul. And this so forgive me if I get it wrong. So keep your pseudo punk, hip hop, pop rock, junk in your digital downloads. I think I got that right.
I like the
Yeah,
J Lo jab myself, but
yeah. Did I forget the J Lo?
remember on the DVD, he,
Oh
he,
yeah,
he
J
put
Lo.
the
Yeah,
J Lo junk.
J Lo hip. Yeah, yeah.
um,
J Lo junk in your digital. So I don't think you liked J Lo at the time.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care for them. Who
Yeah.
knows?
What's your favorite lyric?
My favorite lyric in Last Man Standing. Um, Give me a second. I'll have to. Let me see. I love just the opening, like come see a
Living,
living,
breathing.
breathing
Yeah,
spectacle. Yeah,
reeling you in.
yeah,
Yeah.
only seen right. Yeah, I
Last
would
chance
say
of a
that. I would
lifetime.
say the opening lyrics, because
Yeah.
it does it pulls you in, and it's like it's storytelling right from the get go. You
Right.
know,
Next song is Bells of Freedom. It was written by John Ritchie. I think Desmond Child
did
came in
Desmond write
and
on that one?
co-wrote this one. I think he was on the finishing touches of it.
Okay,
Um, it's actually my second favorite song on the album. I think the meaning of this song it can be interpreted in so many ways, but mine is you know standing up after you've been knocked down so many times. Standing up after defeat, pretty much. Like pretty much getting back up after being knocked down so many times.
right.
And realizing that you're free in a way. Like with we are free as human beings, and not to get too political, but I think that's my take. I mean, what's your take on the song as far as meaning goes?
Well, Bells of Freedom. Yeah. I never quite thought about it that way. But now that you mention it about being like, free and all that, I guess that makes sense. Um, that song was always a song that I liked, but it was like never one that I actually. It wasn't like a go-to track, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I've always liked it when it came on. You know.
yeah. It was great
Um,
live too. They did a few times live on the
yeah, they
tour.
did. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what my take on that track would be.
Yeah.
We'll have
My
to
favorite.
come. We'll have to come back to that one at some
Yeah.
point.
Favorite lyric would be "When your world comes crashing down, like you've lost every round, stand your ground and ring the bells of freedom." That's my favorite. What's yours?
Okay. Man, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay.
We'll come back. We'll
Next.
come back to Bells of Freedom.
All right. Next track is Wildflower. It was written by John, and I'm almost 99% sure he wrote about Dorothea, his
That's what
wife.
I'm thinking too.
And the whole meaning with I think it's more of a romantic relationship. Your relationship being different from the rest, and it's
Yep.
still perfect for each other. It's like my favorite lyric: "If she's fire, I'm gasoline. We
Yep.
fight a lot, but none of us want to stop it."
Yep.
I love those lines.
Me too.
And I think that rings true in a true relationship.
Absolutely.
They only did this live a couple of times on the
Couple
tour.
times. It didn't get much
They did
much
a
time
giant
out.
stadium, I
Yep.
believe, right?
Yep.
And I'm surprised John. I just think it was just one of those songs that John wrote that he loved a lot and just threw it on the album.
Threw it on there.
What's your take on this on lyric and all that? Before we go to the next?
Lyrical, I thought was very good, and yeah, I think you're right. I think it was written for his
Dorothea.
wife. Um, and I think my favorite lyrics in that one, um, I think it's simple, but it's like nobody knows that the fire, like
I love the way he sings that too.
nobody knows. Yeah,
We're no JBJ.
Yeah, I think
Next
that'd
one,
probably be my favorite part of it. You know,
yeah.
favorite
My
part.
next one would be Last Cigarette, which I think was, and this is what's really special about this song that I love. It was written by John Bon Jovi and David Bryan, which David doesn't really usually write songs, which I think he
All right,
should. Right?
he
So
should.
this song was actually one of the two songs that was written about his divorce because he was going through a
Oh,
divorce at the time. And obviously, so the song's about breaking up and looking at the past memories. You know, my favorite lyric is "Don't ask the past to last; it's about to change." You know,
yep.
Dave was going through a lot of change at the time. You know, things just don't last forever. And it was also a good. You know, it's more of a fun. You know,
It's fun.
one
Yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
cigarette. You know, the last. You know, it. And I enjoyed it live and stuff. So, what's your take on it?
I loved it. I mean, that was one of my. It was one of those songs on the album that like hooked me right away.
Yep.
It was like one of those that like, all right, this one's like, it's permanent. You know, like
Yep.
this track. You know, kind of like "Beautiful Drug" on the new album.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and we'll get to that in another one, but
Sure will. Um,
um, but that track and. I love it. I love Last Cigarette. I do. It's one of my go-to tracks when I am listening to it, or if I'm putting it on a playlist. It's always into consideration putting that one on there. Um, my favorite line in there was I can't think of it now. Damn, I can't think of it now. Oh
that's okay.
man,
We'll come back
it's
to it.
it's too early yet.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's the next one. I'm trying to remember all the lyrics right now, but it's "I Am."
Oh,
It was written by
sorry, hang
John.
on. I got it. You always lose the girl in a Brian Wilson
Oh, yeah.
world.
You know what? I knew that was your. I remember us talking
Yeah,
about that, and
that's
I
right.
knew that. I should have remembered it.
Yeah,
Our friend coach is broke.
yeah,
I should have
it's
known
gone.
that. Okay, so next one is "I Am." It was written by John Ritchie. And I think John Shanks also wrote on this one. And this one was when I was saying earlier about how this album is kind of hopelessness meets coming together.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those songs, you know, of not being alone, but being able to live in your own skin and being able to come together. You know, when you think that no one needs you, sees you, or believes you, and no one else is there to understand, I am.
I am
You
right.
know, like thinking what you believe and how you feel. You're not alone. I'm with you,
Yep.
and I love that.
And how you spend your minutes are what matters.
That's my favorite lyric. All
Mine too.
tomorrows come from yesterdays. You know, learning to build from your yesterday.
Yep.
They did it live a few times too, which was good. Your turn.
My I'm with you on that track. Right away, it's one of those like from the beginning of the song that is like how you spend your minutes are what matters. All tomorrow will come from yesterday's.
Yep.
I think that's my favorite line in the song. But like you said, it's about not being alone,
Yep.
and all that. And it really is a solid track, And what were we saying? Like, because I Am came out, and but what other song was like tied into it? You said we were talking about this the other day,
Oh,
playing Friday. I forgot.
I
Um,
uh
but
yeah,
you mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
yeah.
It was like I don't know. It was like, oh man, that one came out, and then there was another song that came out that I think was influenced by I Am.
Nothing. The instrumental.
Nothing. That's
Which
it. Nothing. That's right.
which
Nothing.
we have about 10 minutes left over just because I want to get to that. But
Okay.
Since we mentioned this was not
Put
this.
it on there. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So the next one is "Complicated," which was written by John Ritchie and Max Martin, which I think it was the only song he co-wrote on this album.
Yeah.
And it's one of those great songs. But I think it's one of those songs that's about kind of like taking your stance. This is who I am.
Yep.
Take me for who I am. I'm not changing.
Yeah.
And my favorite lyric is, "I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. I'm fool enough to stay when I should go."
Mine too.
You know, I think, all these years I try to think, what does mean I'm full enough to stay when I should go? I think it was him meaning that trying to fit in with other people or
Yep.
following other fads and fashions or arguing with something that no one's like we were saying earlier, just doesn't believe in your opinion and
Yep.
you're fighting for nothing.
Yep.
It was played live a few times, I think, on that tour. to. What's your take on that?
My
Complicated.
take is just as you said it. And
Yeah,
that song was just it was quickly one of my favorites.
yeah.
You know,
It was great live.
and anymore, I think people want somebody just like me. You know what I mean? Like how they say in the song. You know, I
Yeah,
want somebody just like me. You know,
yeah,
and anymore, I'll tell you the God's honest truth. That's how I feel. You know,
yeah,
um, but no, I mean, like you said, man. You know, I mean, that song was just it's so good, and it was so good live, and it was
yeah,
fun. You know,
yeah. It's
and
just the whole meaning behind it. You know, like, yeah, I get frustrated, right or wrong, love or hate it.
love or
You
hate it.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, this is who
complicated.
I am, and I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah,
But, let's get to the next one. Novocaine, which
Novocaine
was it was only written by John, but I do believe that he wrote it about David.
about
Um,
David. I think you're
it's
right.
one of those great storytelling songs about David's divorce. Um, pretty much just parting ways. You know, like in the beginning, you can take back all your secrets. We'll divide up all the, kind of just like you're taking this, I'm taking this. It kind of like the sense of from the one of the songs from the you can test my faith, but you can't take my pride. You know,
Yes.
you can take it. So in this song, you can take all the pictures in their frames, but you can't take me.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lyrics from that is there's a different kind of meaning now to living on a prayer. Some don't seem to notice and the rest don't seem to care. Living on a prayer back in '86 was all about, Tommy and Gina sticking together,
Yep.
getting through this. And then 2005, breaking up and not sticking together, essentially. And it was great live too. I mean, there was a staple in most of the set list, I think. What's your take on Novocaine?
Novocaine was, you know, not so much then, but now, you can kind of resonate with it.
Yeah,
But I loved it right from the start, But
yeah,
lyrically, it hits home now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean that song, man, it was so good.
yeah,
And live, it was even good live. I'm surprised they didn't play it more live. You know,
yeah.
um,
And on the studio track too, I love that at the end of it, John, kind of ad libs. Like you just kind of hear him talking.
yep,
In the background.
like
Yeah,
toward the end of it, right?
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
And the Dr. Phil reference is I've had it up to here with Dr.
with
Phil
Dr.
and the
Phil
modern
and
man
a
in me.
modern man and me. Yep.
That's a good one. Let's
That
get to the next track, "Story of My Life," which was written by John and Billy Falcon, and this is kind of like one of our absolute. We talk about the song all the
all
time.
the time.
I think it's pretty much just being proud of your life story. I think it was a good band analogy. When you see the band perform it live, sometimes
Oh,
John will. I don't want to use the word flirt, but not in a romantic or sexual way, but just kind of eye contact. And
yeah.
like hanging out. He'll sing it to Richie, and sometimes he'll sing it to David.
Yep.
Um, and my favorite lyric is "Yesterday's a memory, another page of history. You sell yourself of hopes and dreams that will leave you feeling sideways."
Yep.
The whole song's about just this is my story. This is who I am. Here it is. Like I was saying, it's a good band analogy.
Very good, man. And my take on it would be, I definitely think it's a band song, and I love the special moments between John and Richie, and then John and David. But I think for me, it's definitely a John and Richie song.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I love the line in there where I hope you're by my side when I'm writing the last page.
And then it just
And
fades out for a
it,
second. Then
dude, and goosebumps just talking about that line. you
yeah.
know, um, you see, that's what I'm saying about songwriting.
Yep.
People could dump on things, but when you listen to a song and just bring it into your world and you can relate to it, it's awesome. It's magic.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
And,
and that's one of those songs. I love it because
and
I hope you're by my side when I'm writing the last page. That could mean anything. That could be
yeah,
like me and my brother.
yeah, or being on your deathbed.
Yeah, yeah,
Like taking the last breath.
Yeah.
One thing too is that I love Davis beginning of that. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then one last thing too was on the 2010 special edition when Hugh makes the mistake. I'm glad they put that on the 2010 special edition of the album when they played it live. And I guess Hugh made a mistake in the first verse, and
Yeah.
you know,
And he stopped it.
we have a couple more minutes left, and I wanted to talk about the outtakes real quick. On the Europe edition, they got Dirty Little Secret and Unbreakable.
Yep.
I loved Unbreakable. I think it should have made the album. I think it kind of resembled Have a Nice Day a little bit as far as maybe it didn't. I just know it deserved to have been on the album. Japan got Dirty Little Secret, Unbreakable, and These Open Arms.
Yep.
But one that I wanted to talk about with you was Nothing. Not Nothing literally, but the song Outtake Nothing.
The song Nothing.
Now, we were talking about I Am earlier. So if you listen to both songs side by side, it's almost the same instrumentally. It follows the same progressions, keys, all that.
It's very similar.
And so I think John listened both, and I think he made the right choice. I think I Am deserved to have been on the album.
Sure.
But Nothing is so good. It's one of my favorite outtakes. And you already know this, but they recorded it. It's on YouTube. But he actually gave the song to Bo Bites, who I think was on American Idol. Yep. And then his version's pretty good. I love, just the way that I think John adds just like a special touch to it. Like at the end when he screams, "No, I won't let you down."
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I won't give in. It was just so good, but
it's one of those songs where the first time you hear it, you fall in love with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And for me, like it was one of those songs where I definitely feel like it should have been on the album for sure.
Yep.
I also love Dirty Little Secret, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And Unbreakable is another good one. But when I first heard that track real quick, Unbreakable, I don't know why, but it kind of sounded like, I don't want to say like Backstreet Boys, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Did you get that kind of vibe too?
Yeah, I guess I could like.
And a little bit of Aerosmith. It was kind of it was weird, but
yeah,
I definitely dug it, but Dirty Little Secret was definitely one of my favorite outtakes on there, as well as Nothing. But Nothing was such a good song. And like you said, like John, how he sings it in there. I hope someday we get a clear version of it.
Yeah.
Where hopefully the next box set,
Yep. But before we wrap up, every time I hear Unbreakable now, I'm gonna think of Backstreet Boys because I never thought of it like that, and it does. It sounds like a boy band pop song, and maybe that's why I didn't make the album now. Now it all makes sense, but yeah, it just sounds like so. Unbreakable.
Yeah, I can't think of which song, but it sounds similar to one of theirs. I don't know, but it was like a boy. It would sound like a boy band thing. I don't know.
We'll stay on so we can chat after this recording. But for the video, I want to thank you for coming on, and I wish we weren't such on a time limit with these Skype things. But I know we can talk for another hour about this album. It's such a good album, and maybe when we have another discussion, we'll kind of touch some light on this. But thanks for coming on and talking about this album.
Thanks for having me, brother. It's always fun. My pleasure, and we'll definitely be doing some more. So
all right, all right, we'll end the recording right now. Thanks again, buddy.
Later, man.